Today we're turning our spotlight on Zenith Energy, a listed international energy production and development company, for a business update. There are lots of processes going on with the company, and there is a huge interest from shareholders and the market. CEO and President is Mr. Andrea Cattaneo, and he is standing right beside me in the studio. Please welcome Andrea.
Thank you.
So, to start off, can you give us a brief presentation of the company and yourself?
Yes, we are a Canadian company. We had an old relation with Scandinavia. We started to visit Scandinavia for the business of energy in 2010. And soon after, we acquainted with the Norwegian director that was director of our company for many years. And then in 2018, we listed in the Oslo Bourse, which was a very interesting process, and is a process that entitled to be in acquainting with the local community, local financial community, local opinion of the investors, especially the retail investors. And then we succeed over the years because we discover to have many thousand shareholders. And then more recently we discovered to have some thousand shareholders in Sweden. And so hence I had the desire to know more about Sweden. And here we are. We are an energy company which has recently moved to green activity, as we are doing mainly solar parks. So we are building a portfolio of 20 mega solar parks in the south of Europe. It's very important to mention this aspect, the south of Europe. There is even a website which is very interesting of the European Union, which shows the solar irradiation of any point of the EU. And you will see that from Norway to the south of Sicily, the difference of irradiation is dramatic. And so obviously solar is a business that is best fit for the south part, but in Europe, so with the legal protection of common systems and laws, and as well rules and protections from being damaged by local authorities, which is the history of Zenith indeed, which has built a large oil and gas set of properties, but all has been sequestrated in 2022 by the government of the Republic of Tunisia. That prompted us to react, initially with one arbitration, and then with a second, and then with a third. And so we are now a company that has a strong element as well of arbitration claims.
Yeah, and this business update will be evolving a lot around the arbitrage and arbitration. You have already won a partial ruling in the ICC process. How do you assess the risk of political interference or prolonged proceedings in the remaining parts of the cases?
Today we are always considering that we are in a period where we refer to the old times, where there was more order and manners in the people. We shall say that the arbitration world is a very comforting space, is still effective, functioning, and seems beyond any sort of interference, and as well prolonged proceedings, as you mentioned, because we started in 2022. Of course, an arbitration is not something that you can snap in a few days. So few months of preparation, and then in October we filed the first one, and then 2022, and then we had already the award of the first one, which is called in our jargon ICC1, in front of the International Chamber of Commerce of Paris, which is the largest in number of arbitration in the world. And so only 2 years and 2 months we have had the final award. So it's been great comfort, the speed, not only the success. And so we have had a sentence that has been 58% larger than the claim. The second claim is $130 million, is called in our jargon ICC2, has been heard in the court on the end of February of this year, and the results are expected in the summer of this year. So in a few weeks we start the countdown to the day in which we will have, which is unknown when, the results. And then we have the largest of our proceedings is a different type of arbitration. It's called treaty arbitration. So it's an arbitration made in Washington in an entity called ICSID, which is an entity created by the World Bank many years ago to protect the investment of investing countries in receiving countries. So this treaty has been made between the country receiving the investors and the country being the nationality of the investing company to protect this money. And so, as in our case, this treaty applies to the fact that all our investment has been wiped out for undue reason.
Okay, and so if we look at the timeline here, the ICC2 is due to
summer 26,
summer
25.
In July, maybe?
Exactly.
And for the SID arbitration, what is the timeline there?
So they exceed as end with an award which is on the second or third quarter of 2026. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a massive arbitration. It's $503 million. At the moment, we are still making the final filings, which will possibly change, increase the amount of our claims, possibly. And then time has passed, and so there are additional costs to record. And so, as you can see, is a very limited amount of time, because from the year 2023, in which we filed the ICSID arbitration as a start, the autumn of 2026 will be only 2 years and few months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I read an analysis by Analyst Group where they presented the probability-adjusted compensation that they estimate at $143.7 million US. What is your view on this estimate?
Well, first of all, you know, the more conservative a research house is, the more credible in the world of finance it is as well. We have to put the $143 million that you mentioned in perspective of the total claims, which are partly already won, partly to be won still, totaling $642.7 million. So then, as you can see, is nearly a fifth of the amount of the total claim. But there are very complex calculations that somebody can enjoy reading the research, very professionally made, and of course, in the safety of the target price of the stock, which is already 7 SEK per share after the end of the 3 arbitration, which is comparing to the 1.90 of today in Oslo, is still a big multiple. So to be conservative is by us welcome.
Okay. And
we have a different, of course, view.
Yeah.
and of course, we are in for the full claim. Mm-hmm. And we are confident that maybe, as it happens, I remind you, in the case of ICC1, where we had an increase in respect of the claims of 58%, there will be an important increase as well in the sentence for the 642. So,
yeah, it's going to be very exciting to follow this process. And have you begun internal or external discussions regarding the use of potential proceeds, like dividends, share buybacks, or other reinvestments?
Despite the fact that our number of shareholders worldwide is reaching nearly 10,000, we are listed in the main market of the London Stock Exchange, and we are listed in the Oslo, now called Euronext, but as well we have, because of neighboring between the investment society of Norway and Sweden, a lot of shareholders in Sweden already, in excess of 5,000 individuals. So we are very much linked to each of our shareholders. Our shareholders have suffered massively after the sequestration of our asset in Tunisia, which put a question mark about the ability to react, because to make, not to say three, but only one arbitration is a great challenge that sometimes a company cannot afford to make it. The find of the good lawyer, the cost, or the financing of this operation. Ourselves, instead, we have not made recourse to litigation finance, which is very expensive, and we have a stellar team in Paris. The litigation are in French language, so the best place to have the lawyers is Paris. And we have the most famous arbitration professional of France, which is called Professor Thomas Claes, which is considered an authority. And then we have a large firm making the cooperation with him. So all of that bring to say that we are very proud, but at the same time we have a duty to deliver this important result to the shareholder that they suffer before. So ourselves, we believe that there will be an important outcome, and we are working 100% on this direction.
Okay, and how does the favorable ICC ruling already secured influence your position in potential settlement negotiations?
Settlement is always welcome, because peace and not litigation is always welcome by Zenith being an industrial company, not a litigation company. At the same time, negotiation for settlement are best made out of a position of force. So I think that we can speak about settlement after the result of ICC2.
Okay, sounds reasonable. Can you elaborate on your growth strategy and what you focus on to create long-term shareholder value?
Since 2010, Zenith has been a producer of energy with a turnover, and has not been, for example, an exploration company, so a speculative company trying to make something and to make a great result, but possibly losing everything. So we have instead been a steady producer. The litigation reduced very much the sequestration, and then the litigation reduced very much this element of our soul, which is industrial. So now we are regaining the industrial element with the new campaign, which is the creation of a portfolio of 20 mega of solar park in the south of Europe.
Okay, and where would you say you see Zenith Energy in 1 year from now?
Well, first of all, we should deliver more, possibly, than the 20 mega portfolio. So showing to our investors that we are able to deliver what we have aimed to. To put 20 mega in perspective, I was speaking the other day with a representative of a large multinational, which is one of the biggest in one of the European countries, and they have a portfolio of 120 mega. So then if something so important as create a portfolio of 120 mega, we can be very proud to make 20 mega in 1 year as portfolio of Zenith. So that will be the industrial part. We are very opportunistic. There can be other companies that in lack of financing or in lack of confidence, they may throw the towel, which has been our expertise. You know, we started to produce gas in Italy because somebody sold the entire portfolio in 1 month to us, and we are ready to take it up. So the opportunistic attitude is always a great element of our life. And then there will be the results, hopefully, of the second and maybe the third arbitration, and so we will be counting the dollars.
Okay, thank you. And could you list your 3 most important reasons why Zenith Energy is a really good investment today?
Yes, the first thing is the legal momentum. By total destiny, with us making the speedy effort to file the arbitration as soon as possible, we have a cadence of result of arbitration. We have had in Christmas the 10 million victory in ICC 1, and then before the end of the summer, in July most probably, we will have the result of ICC2, which already is a sizable multiple of the ICC1, 10 million versus 130. And then in 1 year maximum later, we will have the result of the third arbitration, which is a further 5-time multiple, $503 million before review. So that makes a very interesting momentum, legal and as well monetary-wise. Somebody can invest and see the investment profiting more and more progressively with the result of number 2 and number 3 of the arbitration. The second point is that all that, it is possible. Well, somebody should make his own assessment, but the point that the most famous legal team of France is backing us, and we have won already the first one, which is very similar in legal team, because the sequestration has been the same, to the second and to the third, should comfort that this legal team and this legal case will win. And the third is that there is justice. Our shareholders have been unduly damaged by this sequestration, and arbitration is a functioning system, and we are seeking justice. It seems that we are getting justice, and we look forward to have all the justice delivered to our shareholders.
Really interesting to have you joining us in the studio. Mr. Andrea Cattaneo, please thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much to you.